All right, now we're going to move into subtracting mixed numbers. Subtracting mixed numbers is a little bit more complicated than adding mixed numbers because with subtraction, you sometimes have to borrow. And when you're borrowing with fractions and whole numbers, it gets a little bit complicated. So we're going to look at how to do that now. If you have any problems with this and you've already watched the video and I've already been over it with you, make sure you let me know and I'll make sure that we sit down together and work it out. Okay? So this is the problem we're going to be focusing on. 3 wholes and 1/8 of a whole minus 2 wholes and 2/4 of a whole. So it's really important when you're subtracting mixed numbers that you line them up by the biggest whole number on the top and the smallest whole number on the bottom. So we're going to actually rewrite this problem so that it's vertical. We're going to take 3 and 1/8, put that on top because obviously 3 is a bigger whole number than 2. We're then going to put 2 and 2/4 on the bottom. All right, so now we have to look at the fractions that we have. We have 1/8 and 2/4. Two different denominators. So we're going to list out the least common denominators, or I'm sorry, the multiples for each of those denominators and find out what is the least common. Oh, I could have stopped a while back. So I have an 8 here, and this number is 8, so I can go ahead and stop. 8 is going to be my least common denominator. When I go back over here, I know now that I don't have to change 1/8. I can just change 2/4. 1/8 can stay the same because the denominator is already 8. So I'm going to come over here and make an equivalent fraction for 2/4. I want my new fraction to have an 8. So I want my denominator to go from 4 to 8. I know that 4 times 2 equals 8, so I'm going to do the same thing to the top. My new fraction will be 4/8. So we're going to go ahead and rewrite that problem again. Going to keep my 3 and 1/8, but I'm going to change my bottom number to 2 and 4/8. Okay, so you're thinking, great, now I can subtract. Wrong. With a regular subtraction problem, you move from right to left. You always start in what would be the ones place. Well, with this subtraction problem with mixed numbers, you keep it the same way. You start in the right column. So if we were to start in the right column, I would subtract 1 minus 4. 1 is a smaller number than 4, so there's no way that that's going to work out. What you have to do is borrow. You have to borrow from the whole number. So I'm going to go over to my 3 and I'm going to borrow. I'm going to take 1 whole from this 3. If I take 1 whole from the 3, it will make it a 2. But how do I give 1 whole to this 1/8? As we've talked about, if a fraction has the same number on the top and the bottom, it equals 1 whole. So I'm going to find the easiest fraction that I can add to this fraction that equals 1 whole. What that is 8/8. 8/8 equals 1 whole. This is the whole that I took away from the 3. I'm just going to add it to my 1/8. 1 plus 8 is 9. My denominator is going to stay 8. So now I have 9/8 minus 4/8. Now I can subtract that pretty easily. 9 minus 4 I know is 5. So my fraction will be 5/8. All that's left is for me to subtract my whole numbers. 2 minus 2 is 0. So my final answer for that would be 5/8. Again, let me know if you have any questions.